Yes. What is up, everybody, and welcome back to the Kirby on Sports World Cup show. I am your host, Carlos the Swiss Army Knife Martinez, back with you guys again after, a belated absence. I apologize. There were some things going on. Couldn't make a podcast every day, but here I am to walk you guys through the action of today. I'm only going to really be focusing on the United States match against Iran, I'm sorry. We're just going to pretty much take it from there. But first, we have to thank our sponsors, PM Plus Reserve, Shenandoah Primitives, Dr. Dave Leadership Corporation, Mark Francis with Icon Real Estate, and Barrett Pest and Termite Services. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, we are back. And so is the United States. It was so simple for today. Win and you're in. Lose or draw, we're done. And the boys, the baby Eagles, as a lot of people have come to call them because they're one of the youngest teams, did it and beat Iran 1-0. I predicted the score earlier today to some people that I ran into on the street, at work. Ran into a couple U.S. fans in some of the grocery stores and, asked them their opinions. And every time they asked me, what do you think the final score is going to be? I told them 1-0. And that's what it was, 1-0, 1-0. The United States. The goal was scored by, of course, none other than Christian Pulisic, who sacrificed his body on the play and got injured. It's come out that he's got a pelvic contusion. He's day-to-day at this point. He says he's going to be ready for Saturday. That remains to be seen, of course, and we hope he recovers quickly because we need him. He's our star player. But yes, the United States came to the World Cup with one goal. The only way for this World Cup to be successful for us was to make it out of the group stage, and we did it. Be proud of this team, ladies and gentlemen. They represented our country well. We went through the group stage undefeated, 2 draws, 1 win. Came out with 5 points, came second in the group, only behind England, but second means we get out and we played the group winner of Group A, which is going to be the Netherlands, which will be played Saturday at 10 in the morning. But yes, we did it. We did it. Obviously, I wasn't able to break down the England game with you guys. Like I said, I had some family over. I had some prior commitments also, so I was not able to break that game down with you. My thoughts on that game where we performed very well, and it was a performance to be very proud of. The boys were very disciplined, and we outplayed England, a World Cup favorite. We outplayed. So that gave me a lot of confidence coming into this game against Iran. And, of course, it got a little dicey with the whole political stuff. There's obviously geopolitics going on, with our countries, and then of course there was the whole scandal of the social media department, I guess, of the United States national team put up a graphic showing the group standings of of our group, and they omitted a piece of Iran's flag. And that caused the whole stir. There was a press conference where clearly the state reporter from Iran was coming very aggressively at Tyler Adams for being the captain of the United States and asking like how could he captain a country that has a lot of discrimination. And Tyler Adams, of course, answered the question with grace and really turned it on, turned it into something better, handled it with absolute class, and that's why he's our captain. But yeah, going into this game, I had a lot of confidence. Iran, of course, they lost their first match to England 6-2, and then they beat Wales, but it took them until the very end of the game to beat Wales 2-0. Obviously, like they showed that they could score goals, and we kind of struggled to score goals. We've been struggling to score goals since, for this whole year. It feels like it's been kind of an issue. Obviously there's the questions of the number 9. So, realistically, Iran only needed to either win or draw to move on to the next round. That's all they needed. So for them, we knew that they were probably just going to sit back, probably play in the low block, which means they're probably just going to just play defense, basically. Just sit back, kind of hit us on the counterattack, which they can do. They have a lot of speed and they have talent on that squad. And we figured that that's what was probably going to happen. It didn't necessarily happen like that. They kind of played at the mid block, so they kind of pressured us a little bit. But we ultimately ended up taking control of the game. And then, of course, Pulisic eventually scored. It was an interesting lineup. Of course, some changes were made, into going into this game. Josh Sargent got the start. Of course, he didn't start in the England game. That was Haji Wright. He started. I wasn't very impressed by him in the England game. But he was serviceable for what he did. So Josh Sargent got the start in this match. And then the other change was Walker Zimmerman, of course, most known right now for his mistake against Wales and committing that tackle that ultimately led to the penalty against Gareth Bale. He was benched for Cameron Carter-Vickers, a guy who plays who plays his soccer in Scotland and is very, very good, in my opinion. So he gets to start. And pretty much the rest of the lineup stays the same. You have obviously Matt Turner, in goal. You have Dest. You have Tim the Dream Ream, who somehow, someway has become the most stable defender in our defense, despite the fact that he was not involved in World Cup qualifying at all, was not really a guy looked at as his partner. And, he just came onto the World Cup squad, made the team and has really just like taken that position and has really been the rock in that defense. And then, of course, Anthony Robinson on the left, one of our most solid, guys. And then, of course, the midfield was MMA, Musa, Adams, and McKinney. And then the front was, of course, Pulisic and Timo Weah, obviously with the number 9 being Josh Sargent. So ultimately what happened in this game, it was kind of a tale of two halves. The first half we really controlled, and the second, obviously we got the goal going into halftime, and then we come out in the second half and it's kind of a lackluster. Obviously Iran at that point know that they need to get a goal to move on. They need to tie back up at the minimum. So they started kind of coming out a little more and kind of really putting us on our back heels. I didn't necessarily love all the substitutions Greg Berhalter made. I think he got the starting lineup correct. Josh Sargent, for instance, was an absolute menace out there, man. He really, really did what we needed him to do, which was really hold up the ball, make some plays, give Weah and Pulisic, some chances. He didn't necessarily create chances for himself, but he created chances for other people. And, it shows, we had 12 shots compared to Iran's 4. Only one of Iran's shots was on target, while 5 of ours were on target. We still ultimately, at the end of the game, had more possession, 51% compared to Iran's 49%. We completed more passes. We had better pass accuracy. They committed more fouls. They got 3 yellow cards to our 1 yellow card. But yeah, going into, this game, and of course Pulisic scored in the 30th minute, going into this game, it was just more of the same question, who's going to take the number 9 position. And I think Josh Sargent really stepped up, did such a good job at holding the ball. And you saw the difference when he came off the field. Of course, he looked like he picked up he picked up an injury. Hopefully he's going to be okay to be able to play against Netherlands. You could tell the difference. Haji Wright, I just don't understand it. I still don't know how he made the World Cup squad because, again, he was not really involved in World Cup qualifying himself, and he hasn't done what Tim Ream has done, where Tim Ream has shown us why he made the squad. Haji Wright has not shown us why he deserves to be on the squad. He didn't necessarily impress me during the England game. He did good at pressing, but, again, aside from that, nothing really crazy. And then he just looked lost out there today. While he was out there, there was a chance where he had a chance at goal at the end of the game, and he just completely whiffed that shot and didn't really make it a challenge for the goalkeeper, where instead he could have also, if he wasn't going to put up a good shot, then he should have just dribbled it to the corner and tried to run out the clock. Those last 9-10 minutes of the game were just absolutely excruciating, because at that point Greg Berhalter kind of just settled in and was like, you know what, we're going to just defend this lead. We're not even going to try to go for it, which I think was a mistake. You never want to try to defend your lead. You want to always, you want to be proactive. You want to keep pushing it. You got to have that killer instinct. And we almost had a second goal, of course, from Timo Weah, which was called off because they claimed he was offsides. I'm still questionable to that call, but the technology showed us the picture. He was, I guess, offsides, but to me, it was a little close. But hey, they called it that way. Obviously Iran at the end of the game, were clamoring for a penalty. They thought Cameron Carter-Vickers pulled the guy down. To my eyes, he did not, but that's besides the point. But anyways, yes. So, I mean, we're in the knockout rounds. We beat Iran. We did it. We always knew. Us that were, that followed the team very closely. We all knew that it was going to come down to this game mostly. Wales was the game we definitely needed a result. We needed to get points because we just didn't know how the England game was going to go. Right? We could have gotten shellacked. We could have had the performance we had against them, and possibly pull the upset and win. Right, we just didn't know that was questionable. We felt like they were overlooking us. Obviously, their fan base definitely was thinking that they were going to win 5-0, and we threw it right in their faces. To them, they saw the draw as a loss. To us, we saw it as we took it as a win, as a good stepping stone to show that these boys, they're young, but hey, man, they can compete. And then of course we knew hey, it's gonna come down to Iran, right? Because chances are Wales is probably going to still be in it. Obviously, the England's going to be in it, and Iran is, they're a good team. They are very good, and they showed it. So, yeah, they really pushed this United States team to really work and to really, they didn't give it to us. We really again, look what Pulisic had to do. Pulisic had to sacrifice his body to get that goal. And it was a nasty collision. I was hoping what a trooper he is. He got up and he finished the half, but at the same time, it's just like, man, dude, don't hurt yourself more. Unfortunately, Pulisic is very injury prone. So with this, the United States have now reached the knockout stages of the World Cup in 3 consecutive appearances. They did it obviously in 2010, where they had the same scenario. You had to beat Algeria to get to the next round, and they beat them in a much more dramatic fashion. The Go USA, obviously, Tim Howard saves, makes a save, quickly throws it out, and Landon Donovan eventually, and finishes with Landon Donovan, putting the ball in the back of the net. And Ian Dark doing his famous Go USA. Obviously 2014, where we were in the group of death, where we had Germany, Portugal, and our mortal enemies of the World Cup, Ghana, in the same group. And, we ended up beating Ghana 2-1. And then, we tied Portugal 2-2, and we lost to Germany on the last game. So that ultimately was a pretty successful campaign. We ultimately ended up losing to Belgium in that one. And then, of course, in the 2010 one, we lost to Ghana in the round of 16. So we're at the point where we've been for the past 3 World Cups. We're at the round of 16. This is what we considered successful for this World Cup cycle, was to get to the round of 16. Was to win, wasn't even to win the group, was just to get out of the group. And to get these young boys experience, because what a lot of people don't understand about missing the 2018 World Cup is we lost valuable experience for those guys, for some of the younger guys, right? There's a whole generation of players who missed out on that. So now we're with this newer generation. Pulisic was on that 2018 team that did not make it. So this means the world to him. And it sucks that he didn't get to celebrate that goal, because that was obviously his first World Cup goal. It sucks that he got hurt and he couldn't celebrate it. But, the goal is to get these guys as much experience as possible. So they now experience the group stage. Now they get to experience what it's like to be in the knockout stage. This is going to come in handy for 2026 when the World Cup is here on home soil. I'm not saying we're going to win 2026, but obviously that's what this squad is aiming for, because they will all be in their primes, and we see how good they are now. and hopefully they continue to improve. They continue to get valuable playing time experience here in this next World Cup cycle, leading into 2026. But but this is pivotal. This was pivotal for them to get to the round of 16. We have a beatable opponent. I think we can beat the Netherlands. I do, but it's going to obviously take a lot. We've obviously shown we can keep up with the Englands, so why can't we keep up with the Netherlands? The Netherlands aren't that much better, aren't better than England. I think they're about a tier below England. But that doesn't mean that they can't beat us. They can easily beat us. They have a lot of talent on the team when it comes to, they have a Memphis Depay, they have a Frankie de Jong. Obviously their defense, they have Virgil van Dijk and Matthijs de Ligt. Their goalkeeper is a pretty solid goalkeeper. I don't remember the guy's name. It just escapes me right now. So they have a pretty solid squad themselves. So it's going to be a tough match for sure. Obviously, to be completely honest with you guys, I'm not sure if we're going to be able to win this one. I think we can win it, but I'm not sure if we are. I do think maybe our tournament ends here because it typically ends in the round of 16. But there's so much to be proud of this team, and I'm going to be rooting for them, all the way on Saturday morning. Like I'm going to be wearing my U.S. jersey, and I'm going to be up in the morning. I'm probably just going to go get some breakfast beforehand, eat some breakfast while I watch the game, and hopefully get surprised that they get to that they pull off the win, the upset win. Iran have now also, another thing, Iran have now failed to get past the opening group phases of each of their 6 World Cup appearances. Fun fact, 1998. They eliminated the U.S. in the final group stage match, so it's a little bit of revenge, for that. And the United States have now equaled their longest unbeaten run at the World Cup, which we last did in 2010. We did the same thing. We had 2 draws, which we drew England 1-1, and then we drew Slovenia 2-2, which was a BS game. The referee was terrible in that game, as I recall, and disallowed one of our goals that would have had us winning 3-2. We had to make a comeback. We were down 2-0 on that one, and then, of course, we beat Algeria in that one. So now we're going, and then, of course, in this World Cup, it was the same thing. Two draws, one win. So now we're going into the same situation. If we win, we have the longest unbeaten run in U.S. history. So there's that. Man, I'm just so happy. I was kind of preparing for every situation all day today. I've been so excited all day today. Just these boys are they're doing it, man. It's so great to have the United States be in the World Cup again, because 2018, I was not invested in that World Cup. That World Cup wasn't exciting to me because we had no vested interest in it. I fell asleep during the final. I was that disinterested in it. I honestly couldn't really tell you. I don't have any real memorable moments of 2018. The World Cup in Russia. I don't. I have fond memories of 2014, the Ghana game, when John Brooks came out, the Clint Dempsey goal, John Brooks, of course, scoring the game-winning goal. The Portugal game where we were winning, and then at the last seconds of the game, Cristiano Ronaldo, kicks a perfect, cross, and Portugal end up tying the game, and we're all devastated. We're like, no, oh no, and at that point we just didn't know what was going to happen. And then of course the Belgium game where we were so close. We were in that game, Tim Howard making saves left and right, and then Belgium, eventually taking it, that heartbreak, that one hurt. And then, of course, I do have fond memories of the 2010 World Cup, too. And that one I was super invested in because, and that was the first World Cup I ever actually watched, was the 2010 one, where, obviously I have fond memories of the United States, getting a gift of a goal from the English goalkeeper not being able to handle the ball, Clint Dempsey's shot. And then of course the Slovenia match, which, like I said, we were down 2-0, and then we make a great comeback. A Landon Donovan goal. Michael Bradley scores, and then Bradley scored again, and then we got, that referee was just god awful that day, and never refed another World Cup match after that. And he disallowed a clear goal for us. That there was no foul, but back then there was no there was no VAR, so we couldn't get that called back. And then of course, the Go USA, that was absolutely insane. I still remember that. And then of course the heartbreaking loss to Ghana, in which I thought we were definitely the better team and we deserved to win, but Ghana, pulled it out. That was heartbreaking. So I have fond memories of the World Cup, and obviously Spain won that year. And, my family, my stepmom is from Spain, so I had another team to root for. And my favorite player of all time was David Villa, who was on that team. So, it was great to see him. I enjoyed watching him every game, and that Spain team was absolutely just world class. I've never seen a team like that. But yeah, when I talk about the 2018 World Cup, I just don't really have any memories. I just wasn't invested in it because the U.S. wasn't in it. If the United States is in it, I'm invested in it because that's my team, that's my country. I support the United States men's national team with everything. I try to watch every game that I possibly can, and especially during World Cup qualifying. And I kind of fell off a little bit, but especially after they didn't qualify, I kind of didn't really follow the team that much. And obviously in the past 2 years, I've really jumped back on it, especially after we won the Nations League, and then we won the Gold Cup, and then through World Cup qualifying. It was just a fun ride. And to know that, hey, we're here, we made it to the World Cup. These these young guys made it, is awesome. And for anybody questioning what's going on, being negative about the team, hey, we made it to the next round. Who didn't make it to the next round? Qatar didn't make it to the next round. They're the home nation, and they didn't even win a game. So their fans didn't even get to cheer anything. Ecuador didn't make it to the next round. And they had a fantastic start to the tournament where I legitimately thought that they were a dark horse to win, to make a challenge. They didn't make it to the next round. Who else didn't make it to the next round? Canada. Canada did not make it to the next round. They finished number one in qualifying. In our qualifying, in the CONCACAF qualifying, they finished number one. And they literally only scored. They got one goal by Alphonso Davies, their first goal ever. And for them, that's huge. They're just look, we finally made it. Guess what? We're gonna gear up for 2026, where they're also automatically in because we're obviously co-hosting with them in Mexico. Who else might not make it? Mexico. Mexico has had this whole project of they want to get to the, to the fifth match. Because every World Cup, that they've been in recently, they've gotten knocked out at the round of 16. And here they are. They might not make it out of the group because they obviously tied Poland. They lost to Argentina. Now they have to beat Saudi Arabia, which is not the easiest thing in the world, but it's possible. They have to beat Saudi Arabia, and they have to hope that, Poland and Argentina, don't. I guess, yeah, they can't really. They have to, I guess, tie, but then goal difference. There's so much that factors into can Mexico get out, right? Their easiest path is to win, and hope that either Poland beats Argentina or Argentina beats Poland. That's about the only way, that they can get out. Argentina has control of their own destiny right now. They just have to beat Poland here, and they get out of the group for sure. That's the name of the game. So that's the thing. And then Costa Rica is not even a thought. So out of all the nations, hey, we're through. We're good. We had the better performances. Sure, goals were lacking because we are struggling at finishing, but we got the goal today, and that's awesome. So be proud of this team. Be proud of what these boys have accomplished. And let's support this team 100% going into this match against the Netherlands, because it's not going to be easy, and we might lose. We definitely might lose. I'm not going to sit here and sugarcoat it. Netherlands is a great team. They have a lot of great talent on that team. Maybe too much for us right now. But understand that, this is progress. And, there's no possibility of us missing the next World Cup because we're already in. So we got to get as much experience as we can in this one to try and put out a great performance in the next one. So, with that, the final standings for today. Group A, the two teams that came out were, of course, the Netherlands, who won Group A. In second place was, I believe, give me 1 second. Let me pull up all these groups. Was Senegal, Senegal without Sadio Mane. They finished the group with 6 points. Ecuador came in third with 4 points. And, of course, Qatar had lost all 3 of their games. Really had no business being in this tournament. But, of course, they got in because, they're hosting, which obviously is a problem in itself, which you can listen to various other podcasts on the history of how, this tournament came to be in this nation. And then, of course, the final standings in Group B were England, number 1, with 7 points, the United States with 5 points, Iran with 3 points, and Wales with 1 point. Disappointing show from Wales. You lose 2 games, you draw 1. This is your first World Cup in 56 years. This is Gareth Bale's first World Cup and probably his last. The guy's aging. And not a great showing. Not a great showing from them at all. So tomorrow the docket will be, Poland, Argentina, Saudi Arabia, Mexico. Those 2 games will be played at the same time. I believe those will probably be at the 2 o'clock spot. Don't quote me on that. And then Group D will finish out with France. With France taking on Tunisia and Australia, I believe, taking on Denmark. Or is it France against Australia? I actually am not sure. But either way, Group D will get their final standings. Of course, I believe France are already through because they've won 2 and no other team can really catch up to them. So, yeah, they're already through. Yeah. So they're through. And so now it's a question of who's going to get second. Is it going to, it's just a question of who's going to get second. So those are on the docket tomorrow. I might or might not do a pod tomorrow. We'll see. I'll definitely do a preview of the knockout stages, a little, and possibly have some, maybe have Kirby or somebody on. I'm not sure yet. Definitely have somebody to talk to about it, see what they think. Definitely about the United States-Netherlands match. But yeah, ladies and gentlemen, we're through. We're through the next round. I'm so happy. I'm so excited. I obviously, again, the last time we were in this position, I was in high school still. That's crazy to think. I've been out of high school for so long. So that was the last time I saw the United States in this position. And I'm going to enjoy every second of it, man, because, missing that 2018 World Cup makes you, it shows, don't take this for granted. Making the World Cup isn't guaranteed. Now, obviously, it's guaranteed for us in the next round just because, or for the next World Cup just because we're hosting. But, just don't ever take it for granted. And appreciate this team, man. This is the golden generation, man. These, these young guys are bringing so much pride to our country. Tyler Adams has been such a great representative and a great captain of our team. Christian Pulisic with his hero ball, he's a hero. This is what he does. He, in the moments we need him most, he's going to show up. He's going to, we needed him to show up in this game, and he showed up, and he sacrificed his body to do so. So, yeah, so with that being said, go USA. And, I hope you guys will, continue supporting this team, because, they deserve it, man. They've represented us well. So yeah, I guess that'll do it. I mean, unless you want me to talk about the sub, Greg Berhalter's terrible sub. Yeah, you know what? Hold on. Let me touch on that real quick. The awful substitutions of Greg Berhalter. He made the correct decision with Walker Zimmerman, bringing Walker Zimmerman, but Reggie Cannon looked terrible out there today, and I don't understand why he got brought on. He should have brought on DeAndre Yedlin, a guy who's more akin to a Serginho Dest. A guy who has World Cup experience. He's the last remaining member on that squad who was at the 2014 World Cup. Like I said, Haji Wright makes no sense. I don't understand why he's so against. Jesus Ferreira was the guy for so long, and all of a sudden he can't get onto the field. It's insane to me. So those were subs. Brendan Aronson was great. So he got 2 subs right. He got. Right? Would it be 2? Because, he got Brendan Aronson correct. He got Walker Zimmerman correct. And Kelly Acosta. He got Kelly Acosta right, too. Acosta wasn't... Well, I mean, he was more of a non-factor, really. I mean, he helped here and there, but he didn't really, do too much. So he got... I mean, he was 3 for 2, I guess you could say. Brendan Aronson was more of because Christian Pulisic couldn't continue. Like I said, we wish Christian a speedy recovery. We hope he's going to be able to play against Netherlands because, like I said, we need him. But if he can't, hey, we got, it's next man up, and we've gone, we've gone spells without him. During World Cup qualifying, there was a period of time where we didn't have Christian Pulisic because he was hurt. And Brendan Aronson filled the role perfectly fine. So ladies and gentlemen, I believe that'll be it. So, of course, we want to thank our sponsors again, PM Plus Reserve, Shenandoah Primitives, Dr. Dave Leadership Corporation, Mark Francis with Icon Real Estate, and Barrett Pest and Termite Services. The United States beats Iran 1-0. We are through to the round of 16. Netherlands is next on our list. With red underline. They're next. Let's see what we can do. Let's go USA. With that being said, I love you, beautiful people. It's good to be back. Hopefully I can do some more of these. We'll see how this goes. But until then, go USA. Later.